Hey everyone, I'm just getting ready here. Let's see. These are the tags we're going to make tonight. Hey Marlene. I know I don't have any holiday music on right now. I should have done that. Looks like everybody's still kind of logging in, just getting here. Tuesday nights are tough because it's an earlier time, so some people forget. They're not used to it. Although I've been doing the earlier, I think we've been doing the earlier time for a while now, but it's okay. Thank you. Yeah, I like the early time too. It breaks it up the week a little bit nicer. It's kind of nice for some of the East Coasters who have to get up early in the morning. All right, I'm going to tilt the camera up real quick. You can see my mess behind me. Yeah, let's just adjust it. So, welcome to the show, everyone. Tonight we're doing our the Wintery tag set. I had originally just posted the tag set in my blog. I was just kind of playing around with some papers and glitter and doing some stamping and having some fun. And I posted them, and everybody really loved them. They thought they were really pretty. So I thought it would be a really nice class to teach here on Live with Prima. So that's what I decided to do. And, there's going to be some cool stamping techniques. We're going to emboss. We're also going to do some paper layering and, like I said, glittering. Just, a few fun things. It'll be really nice. Thank you. So I have 8 tags to do tonight, which is kind of, that's kind of a lot to do in a class. So I did some prepping ahead of time, so I hope you guys don't mind that. But everything is pretty straightforward, and we'll just talk through it and walk through it, and you guys will know exactly what to do and how to do it and all that jazz. So these tags can be used on gifts. They can be used as ornaments on trees. Whatever you want. These are really just easy to use over and over again. Make them for friends. It can be like a to from tag, and then they can hang it on their tree if they like. You can even actually hang these along one long piece of ribbon and make them into a banner, and that would be really, really pretty. So what we're going to use is, just some of the Avery manila tags. They're just like a standard size shipping tag. Of course, I didn't measure them, but I will. So, it seems like when I was gathering all my tools and all the supplies, I was like, wow, there's a lot of stuff for just these little tags. So when I made them, I was just kind of using everything and anything I thought would be fun to use. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of go through them now, and then we'll get started on them. And that's that. Sound good? Hello, Linda. Okay, so excuse my camera motions for a minute there. I just have to adjust. There we go. Okay, so let's see, I'll start with this tag here, this first tag. Again, these are just the standard manila shipping tags that you can find at a place like Staples or Office Max, and they were like $5 for a box of 100. So these were really cheap. And I'll measure it right now, actually, just to get it out of the way, because I know everybody likes to kind of know. It is almost 2.5 by 4 3/4. So that's the size tag that you want to get. But you could certainly do any size tag that you like. So on this guy here, I use a lot of my circle punches. Like I have a collection of them I've kind of gathered. And so I've punched out some circles, and here I embossed and stamped with the Prima North Country stamp set. And I made a pretty little banner that kind of comes across. and layered it with some seam binding. Seam binding is a really inexpensive item that you can get. And this is the kind I get, and I get it by the roll. And it's like $7, I think, for 100 yards. It's really, really good. So I just wrap that around the tag, and I have some glittered snowflakes. So I had some glittery stamping fun on this one. And then on this one, again, I used my circle punches, and I stamped a tree, and I tied the seam binding around the whole tag, and then added a little banner, and I'll show you guys how to do that as we go. So that's another fun one. And then I added some bling to the center of the tree over the stamped images. Pretty cool, right? Yeah, this one's a really nice one. This is one of my favorites. Okay, this one now. Tonight, I'm not going to be using this puffy flower because I just kind of want to make it simple. I'm just going to use an Innocence flower, but this is one of our, they call them powder puff flowers, and they're made out of fabric. And then I stuck the snowflake right in the middle. Like I literally squished him in, did a couple layered circles and some ribbon and some twine around there. So, and then added a little bit of greenery, which is always nice. Let's see if you guys can see that. These are so light, I wasn't sure how they'd come out. Welcome everyone that's just coming in. I'm just kind of going through each tag and showing what I did basically. This is another tag covered in paper, and then I have like a really pretty like border coming down that I notched out at the bottom, and then I wrapped twine around the whole tag a few times, and then I added a little punch circle with the flower and the snowflake, and then I don't know if you can see or not, but I'm going to try to hold it up, but do you see where like I stamped some of the snowflakes up here, like coming up along the tag, and then added a little bling around it too? So just kind of added a little bit more of an accent, and I did that along the bottom. I can't, it's always backwards here on the camera, sorry. Down here, and then I have my little word, which I use the tiny alphas for. So this is a really fun one. And then this one here, it's covered in book paper, and then I have multi-layers of the circles kind of punched out and layered on top of one another, and I use some pretty ribbon and a cute little crocheted button and some flowers around that, and I actually added lace at the bottom. And I have some different lace too that I'm going to use tonight, so I'll change it up a little bit and, you know, make it interesting for you guys. This one covered with paper, and then I've got like a border going down the side with some lace there. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's right in here. And then kind of just scattered the snowflakes around and stamped and added some pretty ribbons and stuff too. So this was a really pretty simple one. And then this one here is covered with some old book paper. And then I added just a little bit of some pattern paper around the bottom. And I've got my punch circle kind of hanging off the side, and I have my embossed tree and some more snowflakes. And then the twine I wrapped around the bottom a couple times and then added my little sentiment right here with the little alphas. So that one, and most of these tags too, I'll tell you as I make them, some things are popped up, so they are three-dimensional as well. So I think that just makes it kind of more interesting. And then this guy here, I made kind of a rosette, which I know you've seen me do on the show before. If you've been here, like for some of my other classes, I've done these, which I'll go over how I made this. But I did make one ahead of time just to save time. But it's really easy to do unless you have a Tim Holtz Sizzix die, where you can purchase the die and then run the paper strips through, and then it automatically does all this for you as well. And I think I saw them for like $20 at AC Moore or Michael's. You can use a coupon, or you can get it from your favorite local scrapbook store and help them out a little bit too. Usually they have really good deals on their dies as well. And then I've got some snowflake action in the middle and some seam binding at the top. So, oh, Rebecca's here. Yay. I'm just going to mod Rebecca real quick. If I can find her. Let's see, where is she? Ah, here she is. There we go. Okay. Oh, and Drew's here too. I might make Drew, I'm going to make Drew a mod too, just in case. Because he doesn't want to clean the house, he said. And so if he's modding for me, he doesn't have to do housework. So I'm kind of enabling him, huh? Okay, so let's get started. I've wasted enough time. Well, I haven't been wasting time, but I just wanted to show you guys these fun tags before we get going, and then we'll build as we go. And like I said, I'm being awful, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I don't know why I seem to think that I'm going to get through this, but I am. Okay, so for this guy here, or actually, no, let's go over all the stuff I'm going to use real quick. All right, and I actually have, like I said, the Innocence flowers tonight. These are really, really pretty, and they look like poinsettias in a way, and there's some pearls in the center. I really love these, and I'm actually going to spray. I sprayed a whole sheet of them with wheat fields just to kind of give them that aged look. I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but trust me, these are just a little more tan and aged looking. So basically, I spray these ahead of time so they'd be ready for the show, but that's what I did to prepare these. I also have the Cute as a Button, they're called, crocheted buttons. These are one of my favorite things that Prima's ever come out with. I should use these more, but these are just awesome. And these are perfect for these tags. They come with like a little bit of gray and a little bit of cream in the behind the crocheted part. And then I have my favorite, velvet leaves. And in this pack, I think there's quite a lot of leaves. And they come in three different tones of green and different sizes. You'll see like some real little ones and some big ones throughout. So I'm gonna actually use these leaves tonight instead of the original ones I used. Here are the Printery paper Avon Rose. The Avon Roses have just a little bit of gold gilding along the flower petals. They're really, really pretty. Oh, that's okay, Drew. See, poor Drew, he's already having issues. Okay, and then I have some bling. I know my bling looks sad, but because I've used some of it already, but hey, that's all right. We're going to use it as we go. And this is just kind of the neutral tones, and there were black ones here, but the black ones I think I used on a different project. Then, of course, we have my favorite North Country cling stamp set, which I'm going to turn upside down. My stamps are already falling out. So I don't know if you guys can see, but this has all of the images. It has like just amazing, like the deer and the tree and some snowflakes and little words. And actually some of these little tiny sentiments are some of my very favorite because they're perfect for projects like this because they're so little. There's also Hanukkah in here too. So it's kind of nice. So if you have, you know, someone who celebrates Hanukkah close to you, then you can still make them some really pretty cards or tags as well. So this is just, like I said, my favorite. Okay, now this is something, oh, there's an alphabet that came off. This is our art paper. And basically what it is, it's our packages of mulberry paper that match all of our paper collections. And it's really, really pretty. It's not heavy, but it's thick because it's mulberry paper, so it's nice and sturdy. And it comes with just gorgeous images on it that match the Printery collection. And you know, I won't be using all of them, but you can certainly see that the images show up so well, and they're just so fun to use. And the same images on both sides of the paper. So this makes it really nice for people that really work with, like, you know, paper arts and three-dimensional projects and things like that. So, and it cuts beautifully in your trimmers, and it works great in your punches too. And you get 2 of each design, so that's 8 sheets that you get. And they are 6 by 6 in size. Like I said, this is handmade mulberry paper, so this is just really luscious and beautiful. So I'm gonna play with that tonight. And then we have the Alla Prima alphabet, which I know everyone's like, why didn't you pick Printery? Well, because I liked these little guys up here with the tags because they're cream and they have just the right font. But you see how many letters you get in here? Oh, there's almost 800 little, no, maybe it's 700. I don't remember, but there's a lot of little letters on here. So these are pretty colors too, so you can use them for other things. So I have those. And then tonight, even though I didn't use them on my tags, but I thought it would be fun if we use some antique mirrors. And these are called reflections also. And what they're actually a sticker. And they're kind of clear. See how you can see through and see my hand through that, but there's like a little bit of gilding going on in there with the silver. So it's supposed to look like an old mirror, but they're still kind of see-through, and these are really super sticky. And these actually go with the North Country collection because I wanted it to say winter, and I liked all these little circles and fun little embellishments too. Okay. And then I also grabbed these pretty vines. These are just our brand new vines that we came out with in summer CHA, and it's gold and silver in one pack. And I actually sprayed these babies with some graphite glimmer mist just to darken them and age them a little bit. And what I'm going to do with these is probably just snip off some of the leaves and tuck them in around some of our flowers and things like that. Okay. And the other important thing that I want you guys to know too is I'm going to be using some of the Prima packaging in my tags tonight. I just wanted to give you another idea of how you can get a little bit more out of your stuff, and this packaging, the creamy part, actually matches the tags perfectly. So I was all excited about that because I think that's kind of fun to use something and upcycle a little bit. And then I have some old book paper. This is actually a little kid's music book I actually happened to find, but any old book paper will do. I got lucky because there were some Christmas songs in this little guy, and it was falling apart, so I don't mind using books that are falling apart. You're going to need about 8 manila tags. Like I said, just the standard shipping size tags. I also grabbed some reinforcers. So these little guys, you know, you can get at your stationery store, you know, with the office supply stuff. Because I just like to make my own and just ink them, and they look really cool. Then I also have, like I said, the seam binding. And this color is kind of like a tan. It's called Camel. That's one of my favorite colors. And then I also grabbed some black. But use regular ribbon. Use whatever you have on hand, any kind of neutral tones or the black tones I picked up from the papers, which I thought was fun. And then I also just kind of grabbed some Prima lace, which this is like this really pretty silver Prima lace. And there's also like a lighter silver color. So one's more like a pewter and the other one's silver. I grabbed some cream, just some cream pieces of lace I had in my stash. Some of these guys here. And then this is some really fat, beautiful gold silky ribbon by May Arts. It's one of my favorite ribbons that they make. And then you're going to use just some twine. The twine I find in the jewelry section at the craft stores, and it comes in like a big bundle or in like little wrapped up little pieces, but I just buy the big bundle. It's only $5 for I can't remember how much, but a ton. And I love to use this stuff in cards and things like that. So that's like some of the stuff we're going to use. Like I said, I just have a lot of stuff to show you I used. Then as for punches, I have just a collection of punches that I love to use. And tonight I did use something different for the original snowflakes that I had punched out, actually for my Cricut machine. But I didn't want to get the Cricut out and do all that stuff, so I wanted to use something a little bit more portable. And I'll show you guys how to use these as well. So I got a couple snowflake punches, and then I have a plethora of circle punches. I know, you guys are going to think I'm nuts, but I'm also a card maker, so I have a collection of circles. And I just have a variety of sizes, and they go anywhere from 1.5 inches up to 3 inches. And some are scalloped, some are circle, just plain circles, and they all kind of work with each other. And with the Marvy punches, like they're color coded. So like the purple is a 3 inch, the pink is 2.5, the blue is what, 2 inches, and then down to these little yellow guys, which is 1.5 inches. So that's kind of how you know. And then the big green ones, I think, are 3.5 or 4. Not sure, but they are my collection of punches, and that's what I used. So if you don't have a lot of circles, use something, trace it, cut it out, or you know, find other things that you can incorporate with it. Okay, and tonight's stamping will be done. I have some Ranger embossing powder, and this is called Liquid Platinum. It's Liquid Platinum by Ranger embossing powder. If you want to use like a graphite color or silver, that's totally fine. I just really like this platinum color because it looks kind of aged with everything else. I also grabbed my glass glitter. This stuff, I know there's a lot of companies that make it, but this is just a little bit of silver. And I have Wheatfield's Glimmer Mist, just for aging purposes. I have my Martha Stewart glitter glue, and my favorite embossing ink of all time, which is the Distress embossing ink. This I love. I love this stuff. Okay, so that's what we're gonna work with, and where I'm gonna get started. And I just kind of wanted to show you. Now I have tags already prepared. Some of them I have prepared with the mulberry paper. So I did 2 of them in the cream colored mulberry paper that come in that little pack. And then there's like that really pretty blue and cream ledger. And then these 2 are just regular tags covered in packaging. Haha. Oh crud, I just realized something. I don't have my hole punch. That's all right. I'll make do. And then I covered a couple of them in just some of that old book paper that I was showing you guys. Okay, so that's kind of what I did. And all you have to do is take your tag, and I just remove that annoying little string. And this is my preferred glue. It's the Tombow Mono Aqua adhesive. I've just had really good luck with this, gluing things together like paper to cardboard or paper to chipboard, paper to paper. This is just my go-to guy, and it has a little applicator on the end. And then on the other end, it's just like a pen. So it's got just a nice thin line. So if you just want to glue a tiny little something, you are set. All right, so basically what I did is I just covered one whole side of the tag with my little applicator here. And you can put on as much as you want. And then I just kind of figure out which side I want, and you put the tag down on the opposite side. So whatever is on the other side of this piece of paper is what I want. So just like that. Now if you were concerned about lines, like having it straight with the music paper, hold it up to your lamp, hold it up to your light, and you'll be able to see the tag through, and you can kind of maneuver it and smoosh it around and get it just where you want it. And then it'll be straight. That's how I figured that out. Because I was like, well, how will I know? But you kind of know. And you can see like what it's going to cover on the other side too. So that's what I did. And just to save time, I kind of covered all of my tags ahead of time and got them prepared and cut them out. I just, with the old book paper, you guys, let it dry. Just do it ahead of time and just walk away. If you try to use your X-Acto knife or scissors with the old book paper or even the mulberry paper, it's going to tear because the glue is still wet. It's not really sticking to anything quite yet. So don't do that because you're going to get jagged edges and it's not going to look pretty. So just be patient and let it dry. Do it ahead of time. Do it the night before, whatever you have to do. That's why I did mine ahead of time. Okay. Another cool thing, I have all of my snowflakes already glittered, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I did. I took some packaging. So say here's some from my cling mounted stamps. And you want to grab your punch and give it a hearty heave-ho. There. Sometimes too the packaging is a little tougher because it's thicker. And this is a great way to use up your stuff, right? And you can just keep going around and using your punches right through your packaging. If you wanted your snowflakes to be super thick, I recommend punching it twice, gluing 2 pieces together, then you have a little bit of a thicker snowflake. But with the packaging, it's not necessary. All right? And it's nice because you have something sturdy to glitter, and it worked with your punch. So you didn't have to worry about something not working in this. That's what I love. I love ease. All right. So actually, I'm going to put this guy right on this book paper. And all I did was apply a little bit of glitter, and I used my finger because that way I ensured that I got it into all the crevices. Sometimes with a brush or a paintbrush, you don't always get into all the little grooves and edges, I've found. And I'm using a Martha Stewart glitter glue, which works really well, actually. It's one of the glues that I've found that works really well with a heavier, thicker glitter, like the glass glitter. It really holds up very well. All right, now I gotta find my glitter. Let's see. Here it is. So I'm just gonna sprinkle this down. And then I just kind of let it set, and I don't touch it. Again, just letting the glitter just kind of adhere to this, and I'll set it aside to dry. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll take a glittered snowflake that I have all done. It's all sparkly and pretty, and then I'll take my wheat fields and I'll give it a couple sprays, just like that, just not a lot, just a couple quick mists, and it just makes it look a little bit more aged and antiqued. So the glitter glass itself is really pretty, but if you just add a little bit of wheat fields, that will make the glitter glass look a little bit aged and older, and I love that. So I've already done that to basically all of my guys ahead of time. This bigger snowflake, you'll notice, that was another punch I had, and actually he's misbehaving, so I didn't bring him to the show. It kept getting stuck. It's just one of those older punches that just gets stuck really easily on stuff. I could be cutting like vellum with it and it'll get stuck. So I was like, I'm not using it. But right now, all of these snowflake punches and holiday punches are really easy to find, and they are super inexpensive because they're usually on sale, which I love. I love sales. Okay, so in order to make your rosette, like I said, I've done this on the show before, but I will go over it really quickly now that we've kind of prepared our snowflakes and whatnot. And I prepared quite a few. I just did a whole bunch of them in front of the TV one night. I mean, I don't think I'll need all of them that I did, but I just kept punching and glittering. And then I have them in a little baggie, so if I want to make a card or something really fun and pretty, they're ready to go. All right, so I have a piece of scrap paper here. This is like actually a piece of Printery that I have. You can use cardstock, craft paper, anything you like. And I'm going to cut this guy, actually, on this side here. And I'm going to cut him about 1.25 inches by 12 inches, or as long as I can. I'm sure that this piece of scrap paper is not 12 inches long. All right, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces of it, because you're going to need more than 1 strip to get what you need to make your rosette. All right, now what you're going to do is you're going to butt it up against the edge of your trimmer, and I'm going to go right to, let's see, how long is this piece? Yeah, I'm going to cut it at 11 just to make it even. So every 1/2 inch, I'm going to slide my paper over every 1/2 inch, and I'm going to use my bone folder, and where the groove, where the blade usually goes, is where I'm going to make my score line, okay? And I'm going to keep pushing it down every 1/2 inch and just make that little score line, okay? Like I said, you can get a die, which would be easier. But if you don't make a lot of these and you make one every so often, I think that it's not a big deal to do this method. And I'm not pressing real heavy because you don't want to go through the paper. You're just adding a line just for a fold, a simple fold. Let's see. So every 1/2 inch, I'm just scoring the paper. Now when I get down to the end here, it gets a little trickier to slide it down. So actually I'll take it and turn it around, and this is where my last score mark is, and that is at the 7.5 inch line. So I'll move it up to 8 and then score again. So every 1/2 inch. I'm just going in the opposite direction is all. So that's pretty easy. If you make a little mistake along the way, it's not really, it's not the end of the world, because sometimes, you know, it's not going to be perfect. Okay, so basically, I have scored all along that paper. Can you see it? And then all you're going to do is flop back and forth and just fold. So you're going to fold like little Z's, like that. Just back and forth, right at your score lines. Okay, and you're going to do this to both pieces of paper. And then you're going to glue the 2 strips of paper together, and you are going to punch a circle from, say, like a piece of scrap or cardstock or something like that. And like I have my cream cardstock right here that I used. So I'll punch that guy out, and he will be my base. So basically when I go to glue those 2 pieces together, I'm going to glue them down to that circular base. Let me see if I can show it this way. Okay, so these 2 of these strips will be glued in one long piece, and then you're going to glue it down to like a base, and it could be just a piece of scrap paper. So basically that's what I did here. Now the other side looks horrible. Look at that. This moved. It moved when I went to put down my 2 pieces of paper, but it's okay. You didn't really know that before. And this is the front. So you cover up the middle with 2 more circle punches. And I used the scallop blue one, which is about 2 inches. And then I used the little one, the little yellow one, and he's 1.5 inches. And I layered those 2 together. And I made my rosette. So oh, you don't like how Tim's is perforated? No? Okay. You don't love that punch. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, I don't know. I've heard good things about it. I didn't know. But his basically do the paper strip for you, but that's just another way to do it. And you can do it with the tools you already have, your your bone folder and your trimmer. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my tag that I glued onto a piece of packaging. So this is one of the packaging piece. And then I cut 2 strips of paper. Really easy. I think I did. Yes, I did. So what I did in the original one is I have like these 2 pieces of paper going down the middle. So I'm going to have a strip like that, and then I took a piece of the mulberry paper, and this is 1.25 inches. Okay, so 1.25 inch piece, and I'm going to glue it down after I cut my notch. And what I do to make my notches even is I bring those 2 outside, let's see if I can do this, these 2 outside corners and kind of make them kiss. Yeah, I make them kiss so that it looks like that. I'm not bending the paper completely in half. And I'm actually going to start at that corner where they're touching, and I'm just going to bring my scissors down at a slant so that they're even on both sides. Just like that. So that's a little notch out, and it's like, it looks like fake ribbon. Now I didn't quite want it, I guess that's pretty good. That's a pretty good length. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that guy down. I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac. All right. And again, this was a scrap piece of the mulberry paper after I'd cut out, like I laid down the 2 tags on that paper, and then this was the scrap piece. So that worked out really well. I like to use up every little bit if I can. I'm not a huge paper saver, but I'm actually going to move that up and give that a haircut later. Okay, so then I take my cream piece of cardstock, and this guy is 3/4 inch wide. So he's going to fit right down the middle of that, and I'm going to do the same exact thing. He's actually a little too thin to fold over and to cut, so I'm just going to have to eye it. Oh no. So I go from the corner bottom, and I just give it a little haircut. And it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. It doesn't need to be. And then I just want that strip coming up the middle. Now, I didn't measure this because I just left it long. It gives me lots of room in case I cut the bottom off and I don't like it, and I cut it really ugly, or I cut it the wrong way. You know, it's not going this way, it's going the opposite. So give yourself a lot of room to just make mistakes like that. You'll be so much happier for it later. Oh, and I'm forgetting to ink my edges. Oh my gosh. I'm going to use my Vintage Photo. Vintage Photo Distress ink. Very favorite ink color. And I'm just going to go ahead and do those edges, because I think that's kind of important. It adds just a little bit of dimension. I didn't do that to my mulberry paper. That's okay. No one will notice. I have my glue. And I'm going to set that guy right in the middle so those notches kind of meet up and they're even. Okay, so just like that. Okay, and then what I'll do at the top is I'll give it a little haircut. And I'll use that straight edge of the tag as my guide, so I know exactly where to cut it. Oh, it's a little off. There we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and ink the edges of my tag. Let's see, where's my thing? So this is kind of cool. You guys probably didn't realize I use packaging for some of this stuff, but why not? Actually makes the tag really sturdy. And I don't have a bunch of packaging kicking around, right? Now I'm going to take my prepared rosette, and I'm just going to put that guy right in the middle. I think in the original rosette, I think I had like fatter strips of paper that I used, because I noticed that it's a little bit wider. So I would say that I did this at 1.5 inches instead of 1 inch. I think this guy's 1 inch, and this guy's 1.5 inches. So you can kind of see the difference. So it's just a personal preference. The wider piece of strip, or the wider piece that you go for this, the fatter it's going to be like this. Okay, and the smaller, it's going to be a smaller circle. So that again, like I said, is a personal preference. Actually, I'm going to twist this guy around so that my lines are going the right way. All right, then I'm going to take one of my little prepared snowflake guys. This is the smaller snowflake that I punched out using this punch here, the Martha Stewart punch here, from packaging. And I'm going to just set that guy right in the middle. And he looks really cute. Or should I use this one? I think I like the bigger one better. I'm going to use the bigger one. Going to set him down in the middle, and then I have my bling somewhere. Ah, yes, here it is. So then this is where I'm just going to finish off the look and add a really fun bling center. Of course, I have to add glue to everything. You guys know, I have to glue it all. Okay, just like that. So that looks really pretty. It does cover up the smaller circle a little bit, but it still actually kind of frames it in nicely. And then, like I said, the bling just finishes it off. Now, of course, I didn't, you know what, I'm going to use I didn't bring my hole punch down, but you definitely want to use your crocodile for this, or your favorite hole punch. Okay, don't do what I'm doing. I'm just using my craft knife to make an ugly hole just for my ribbon. And I wanted to show you guys too, like those reinforcers. Now the reinforcers are just little cheapy jobs I think I got at Target or something in the office supply section. And what I did, just to kind of customize them a little bit, was I inked them all up. So let me just kind of look. Well, I don't know what the heck I did with them, you guys. See, this is what happens. I start to work along and then I lose everything. Ah, here they are. Okay, so here we have our reinforcers, and they're just plain white. And all I'm going to do is take some of my vintage photo and my blending tool, and I'm just going to go over it and just ink them up and get them ready, because you're covering up that nice little finished off, tag or hole in your tag. So see, just ink them up, and you can place them right over your hole that you've nicely punched. And then it looks like it just finishes it off. So it looks like, you didn't make it. It looks like you bought it. And then I'm going to grab my seam binding. Just take a little pin out. It has a little pin on the end that holds it in. Okay. Yes, it's very clever. Who would have thought? But you kind of want it to look finished, and what would you use? Well, I guess you would normally use like a little tiny circle punch or something, which I don't, I know I had one, but I have no idea where it went. I think I let someone borrow it, and then it disappeared. So it was just way easier just to use the reinforcers and just ink them up. It's, you know, not a huge deal if you didn't want to use them, but it does just finish it off and make it look nice. Okay, so now I've tied a really pretty bow on there, and I'm going to tie another one because I like the double bow look. So I'm going to run that another piece through that hole. You guys have any questions so far? Oh man, easier said than done. See, because I don't have my, I'm going to poke it through with my scissors. Bring it through the other side. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is just simply tie another knot. And then I'll just trim off the ends and make it look, it'll just make it look nice and full and kind of frilly and pretty. And this stuff you can crinkle, wrinkle, you know, ink it, make it look aged, do whatever you like. Okay, now it needs a haircut. So just kind of snip off the ends here. I leave some a little bit longer than others because I think it looks kind of interesting. And then you have a nice big fluffy tag at the top. And that was the original. So really pretty. Yeah? You guys like it? Oh, I'll have Maddie back on. I have to tell you guys, Maddie had such a fun time doing this show. And you know, after I turned the camera off, she kept going. She didn't want to stop. She didn't want to go home. And I, of course, I'm a sucker, so I didn't make her go home. I was like, sure, keep going. You know, she was having a blast. And she wore her jewelry that she made down to New York City for Thanksgiving. Her and her family went down for the parade, and they met up with some friends, and it's a guy that owns a boutique here in Syracuse, and then I guess he owns a store down in New York City, and he saw her cuff and he was blown away, and he said, "Where did you get that?" And she said, "I made it," and he could not believe that she made it. It was so cute. And he said, "Oh my gosh, those are fabulous." He said, "I need to see those. I need to see more of those." So it was kind of exciting for her because she could tell someone she made it. And here's this guy that owns boutiques, you know, and just really high-end stores, and just was really impressed. So she cannot wait to do it again. She's actually ordering a bunch of it for herself, and she's going to make a bunch of gifts for her friends. So I had to update you guys on that because I thought that was so cute. And her mom just said, you know, thanks to you, now she's into it. So now I'm gonna, you know, I'll have her on again because I'm sure she's gonna want to keep doing more stuff. Okay, so we have this really pretty, cute little tree that comes in the North Country set, and I love this tree for a couple of reasons. When you go to cut it out, it's easy. There's just straight lines, right? And what I also love is, here, let me take it off the block real quick, is there's a lot of little details in this little tree. There's a ton of those. It's made up of little snowflakes. I love that. It's so cute. So I'm going to stamp this guy twice. I'm going to stamp him on the Creams cardstock, and I'm also going to stamp him on some craft cardstock, okay? Because I'm going to use a tree, 2 different trees. And we're going to use our Distress embossing ink and just get it nice and inky. Oh, and where is my, I have this little powder puff guy I like to use. He just keeps he's a little embossing buddy. He just keeps the area where you're stamping like nice and kind of clean, and then your little specks of embossed powder doesn't stick everywhere. So I just kind of run it along the area where I'm going to stamp. And I'm going to stamp that guy right there. And at first, you can barely see it. It just looks like a little watermark image. And then I'm going to do it on here too. See, you can barely see it, but see just enough. And I'm going to grab my platinum embossing powder. I know I'm kind of daring to do this without a tray, but that's all right. And what I like to do after I've sprinkled the embossing powder, I like to kind of tap underneath the paper just to kind of work that powder in all around the image. And then I'll curl this guy up and just tap him right back into the jar. See, just like that, easy. And then sometimes I'll even like kind of turn it upside down and tap it off to the side so that I get all that extra off of there. I'm going to do the same thing on this guy here. And I'm just going to tap underneath, because sometimes when you have an image like this that has a lot of little detail, you want to make sure that you get in there in all the edges, and it just really gets the image covered really, really well. And you can even kind of blow on it a little bit just to get some of the excess off there too. And that is it. Pretty easy, huh? And I'm using, I mean, this platinum, this is called liquid platinum, and it is kind of a fine powder, so it is better, like thicker embossed powder you don't want to use on like something that has fine detail on this. It won't pick up the detail as well. And how do you like my new heat gun? I love this. You know what it says on here? It says caution hot. This is not a hairdryer. It's not cordless, no, it has a cord. So, I wish it did, though. Can't tell if it's, there we go. Sometimes too you can heat underneath an image, and that way you can actually see when it starts to turn and goes from powder to shiny. Come on. There we go. I think it's, uh-oh. Oh, I just smeared it. Oh well, I'll have to stamp it again. Can't believe I did that. Come on now. Sorry, I'm being quiet while I'm doing this. I'm concentrating. Okay, it's starting to heat up now. There we go. Oh, I know, I won't catch my paper on fire. This thing is not, this This does not heat up as much as the Milwaukee does, because my other heat gun is in Milwaukee. Yeah, this is actually acting really funny. I'm not quite sure what's going on with it, but we'll just go with it. And I'll have to restamp that other one really, really fast. Where is it? Ah. So I don't know why it's acting that way. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if it's my... Shouldn't be anything like my powder or anything like that, so not quite sure. Oh well, we'll figure it out. And you definitely want to let things cool off a little bit too before you start cutting. See? Alright, so we'll reheat that too. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and do also my deer on a piece that I already punched out. This piece I punched out of a 3-inch, the 3-inch circle punch, which was the purple Marvy scallop circle. And I only want part of the deer showing up on my image, because I didn't need the whole thing right in the center. And what a lot of people do, I think, sometimes is feel like they've got to get that whole image in. But I think it makes it more interesting if you do it off to the side. And then on the tag, I actually kind of gave it a haircut, and it does go off to the side of the tag. Let me show you what the heck I'm talking about. See, and I just kind of chopped that piece off right there. So you don't even need the whole image. And then I have a little bit of space over here too, which I think is nice. You want to give yourself a little bit of space. So I'm going to put that deer right on here. These stamp really, really well too, by the way. I'm going to use my embossing buddy. Maybe that's what screwed it up. Maybe it's my embossing buddy. Maybe he's not my buddy anymore. Maybe it's just not working as good. I don't know. I can't figure it out. It's just behaving really strangely on... Oh, I embossed buddy down there. Well, I guess I'll find out. Alright. So I just kind of want this guy off the side of the circle a little bit. And he's got a lot of little detail too. So I want to make sure I stamp it really well and get all of that on there. And this guy I'm actually going to take and just kind of tap off like this. See, just like that. So now he's ready to be heat set as well. So here we go again. I'm going to try the embossing again. Oops, I got to put this back in here. Sorry guys, this is kind of the boring part, but you know, with stamping, I think you got to take your time. You have to do things a certain way or else it's not going to turn out like you want. And it can be very frustrating. And I'm kind of here to tell you like what to do, what not to do, what I think works, what doesn't work. And always practice. Don't ever stamp for the first time on your finished project, because that never works out too well. Now you could use tweezers to hold this too so you don't burn your fingers. Or like I said, do it from the underside. Sometimes that works too. And I'm doing this on my craft sheet, so I'm not doing it directly to my table. The craft sheet absorbs a lot of the heat. You should have something underneath it, like if you are on a countertop, because the heat does go through. But I'm on wood, so I'm not too concerned. Oh, it doesn't matter because I'm cutting it off. So sorry, do you guys have any questions for me while I'm sitting here embossing? Sorry. Oh yeah, I did record. Yeah. Am I going to put these tags on gifts? I think I am, actually. And you know, I'm going to give them to people that I know will really appreciate them and like them too. My sister-in-law really appreciates these things, so I probably put it on her gift. And then I have a group of girlfriends that, you know, we all get together and scrapbook and stuff, and they know how much work and effort is put into these kind of projects, so I know they would appreciate them too. Oh, this is just really behaving very strangely. So I'm just gonna see if I can, with my Milwaukee gun, it'd be like bzz, bzz, done. So I don't know why these are taking so long. I might call upstairs to Jack and see if he'll get my heat gun for me, because these guys just aren't heating up. But anyway, we're gonna go back to this guy here, and I'm gonna cut him out. And again, it's so nice to have an image that is easy to cut. Straight lines. Because, I mean, I like fussy cutting sometimes, but sometimes it's just nice if you don't have to. Hey, Jack. Aha, he heard me. Hey, will you get my heat gun for me?
Are you done?
No.
Oh.
Will you get my black heat gun on the table? Haha. Have him get that for me. Okay. And then I went ahead and I inked the edges of this craft paper. I don't know, though. The embossing powder feels weird, so I don't know what is up. If maybe I grabbed a bad something. I don't know. Okay, so we have a book paper tag, right? Covered it in book paper. And I'm actually going to use a piece of the mulberry paper and cut just a little piece of that off and put it along the bottom of the tag. And I'm going to cut about 2 inches. Thank you, Jack. Can you plug it in right there for me?
Hi, girls. How are you?
Drew's on too.
Hi.
So I'm going to go ahead and just cut 2 inches and then glue him down.
Hi. Well, oh, I'm not a girl. Sorry, Drew. Usually it's majority women. Sorry to be stereotypical. I'm good. Thank you for asking, Deb and PA. You know what? I'm going to get out of my mom's hair. I'll see y'all later.
Thank you, Jack, for your help, honey. Okay, so I've got that little guy, that little piece of paper glued to the bottom, so it's, you know, about 1/3 up the tag. And then what I'm going to do is add my punched out circles. And I have them pre-punched, of course. So I have, let's see, this guy. So I've got the 3-inch circle punch, and I'm going to add him like kind of off to the side a little bit. And I'm going to give him a little bit of inking as well. Oh my goodness. Jack is the best, isn't he? I'm just going to go ahead and my little Milwaukee. I don't know. Ah, yeah, there it goes. This is actually like one of the heat guns you would use to unfreeze your pipes. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about right there. Done. Oh. All right, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to entertain myself and keep going. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of glue to the center, and I'm just going to kind of have this guy hang off the side of the tag just a little bit. And then I also took a piece of packaging and punched that out. So I'm going to rest that in the middle of the bigger circle. Okay. And just place those. So see, I have just kind of a little bit of layering here. And make sure you don't put glue in the part that's going to hang off. Just make sure you put it in the center of your circle and just stick it down. All right, and then I have my tree. that I cut out that I stamped onto craft packaging. Actually, I'm gonna give this guy a zap too because I think he needs it. Okay, and then here's where I grab my foam tape, or my pop dots, and I want to pop that tree up just a little bit. I like a little bit of dimension when I do my projects, and I think it's important to always kind of just pop things up just ever so slightly. It just adds a little bit more interest. If I can get those little pieces off, there we go. And he's going to go right in the center of the circle. And then I have my snowflakes. And I use the small guys for this. So I'm just going to add a couple of them, just kind of like just a little bit off to the side. Just like so. So you see there's a lot of little details on here, and it's, you know, just I just like to layer stuff, add stuff, kind of keep going. I'm going to add a little bit of twine at the bottom. And with the twine, I like to kind of wrap this guy around a couple times. Just like so. And then I'll tighten a little knot in the back. And you can use tape, like clear tape, like Scotch tape, on the backs of things if no one will really see it, because that will hold the twine in place sometimes on some of your projects, like if you're making cards or something and no one's going to see it. It's just kind of nice so that it doesn't move around too much, and it'll hold it in place. Okay, now I've got my twine along the bottom. See that there? And then I'm going to add just those little letters from my tiny alphabet set. It says joy. And I sometimes will start with the center letter first, and then kind of get that where I want it, and then I'll add the two letters off to the side. Rather than start on one side and work my way over to the other, because sometimes you don't have it centered or exactly where you want it. So I think sometimes it's just nice to, yes, I'm adding extra glue to the letters. I know, freak. So just kind of, those letters are just like slightly touching, and just says joy over here. Pretty easy, right guys? And then you just add a little bow at the top, little bow of seam binding at the top, and then you're done. Pretty easy, right? So see how I just kind of changed it up a little bit. Couldn't find my anchor, so I didn't ink all the circle edges, but you want to do that just to kind of add a little bit of dimension. All right, that's done. Oh my goodness. Are we already at an hour and I'm only, oh my goodness. Sorry guys, I hope you don't mind. I'm taking too long. Too long. Okay, we're going to work on this guy next, which is our deer. And we have a sweet little banner over here, and we have our ribbon tied around. So I'm going to use this tag that I covered with the mulberry ledger paper. And you can use just a little piece of book paper at the bottom. So let's say we have some scrap pieces of book paper. And I think I just added just a tiny bit along the bottom here, just along the bottom, probably about 1.5 inches or so. So that's what I'm going to lop off here. And then I'm going to glue that guy right along there. And then what it will do is the seam binding will cover like the edge. And so you won't even see where the two papers meet. Okay, so I'm going to lay that right there. Again, I cut this at 1.5 inches. I'm going to flip them over and see where the straight edge of my tag is. That'll be my guide, just to give it a haircut. And then it's done. All right. And then I'm going to add my circle. Oh my goodness. There he is. And again, I just kind of have him hanging off a little bit, but I am going to add the seam binding first because he does kind of layer. Oh no, it layers over it, I guess. Let's see. Go ahead, glue that down. I want a little bit to show. And I'm going to do the same kind of thing. I'm going to turn this guy over and use the straight edge of my tag as my guide, and that will show me where I can just kind of give him a haircut. And then you have him just kind of saying hello, just peeking over. And if you want, you can wrap your seam binding around it twice. It's thin enough, you know, because you know you can have it kind of layered, or you can just do it once, whatever you want to do. And I'm literally wrapping it around that where the papers all meet. I'm going to tie it off to the side in a little bow. Okay, and then I'm going to grab one of my white flowers. And there's a little bit of green on the back of that flower, and I don't really want it to show. So I'm just going to rip that off. Just like that. Because that part I don't need, so I just kind of want to have it just nice and clean. And I'm going to add a little snowflake to the center of my white flower. Thank you, Jack.
It's gonna smell.
From the heat gun, probably.
Yeah, it smells upstairs too.
Oh.
It
And I'm going to glue my snowflake right to the middle of that flower. And then I'm going to glue a little piece of bling. Now, I can go ahead and glue that down, and I'm just going to commit to the center back of the flower, and then I can tuck my leaves in around it. There we go. And the leaves I had were like the really pretty velvet leaves. And just kind of put those in around the ribbon. And they come in different sizes, like I said, so like you have choices. Kind of put all of those guys around it. I'm gonna have to adjust my bows here, get everything kind of worked in. Just like that. So you can see on this guy, it's very similar. And then what I did is I just stamped Happy Holidays on a little scrap piece of cardstock, and just cut and made a little banner. It says Happy Holidays, and just kind of stamp on a bigger piece, then trim around it and make your notch. And then you're just gonna tuck this guy into the flowers. So really, really easy. So this guy I have to play with a little bit and mess around with him a little bit, but you get the idea, right? Pretty easy. Awesome. Okay, awesome. All right, so we're moving on. So this one here, I think I'm going to add some of those reflections, those mirrors, to this one. I think that would be really fun. And I'm going to use a tag that I covered in old book paper, and this one is actually music paper, but you can just use words too. And I have all of my circles already pre-punched, just ready to go, I think. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. I think I'm going to punch out a 2.5 inch circle from some of that mulberry paper that I have. Maybe. You gotta be kidding me. No, I can't find it. Well, we'll just punch it from some leftover Printery paper. I always punch upside down so I can see exactly the image that I'm punching. I don't know if that's something you guys do, but it really helps me a lot. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to layer the larger scallop, 3-inch scallop circle with just the plain 2.5 inch. And I'm going to go right like that. And I'm going to grab some lace, and I have some of that pretty silver tone lace, and I can just put that along the bottom of the tag. This is like so easy. This is really like assemblage. You would think I'd have every punch that Marvy makes, yeah. I really like the lever punches. They just work really well for me. And like I said, I like to make cards. So if I'm making a lot of cards, I like to just kind of go bam, 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 you know, and just get it down. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that guy in the center. And then what I did also is I punched out like a cream color and a craft color, and then I have those guys in the center, and I actually have Winter Wonderland in the middle. And he is just a little stamp here I have. I guess we'll attempt to emboss now that my normal heat gun is here. So just stamp that little Winter Wonderland guy. And sometimes with the little stamps, you got to be careful not to squish it. Don't squish when you stamp because you will kind of distort that little image. Jack, please close that. Please close that door.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty easy. Now I'm going to pop this up with some foam tape. And we're going to layer. Yeah, the lace is really awesome, isn't it? Putting more foam tape on these bigger guys here. Oh, maybe I gotta move that one over just a tiny bit. Yeah, just like regular glue, I like to use a lot of foam tape too. That's just how I am. All right, so far it's looking good. So far so good. And then all I did was I took some of these Avon roses, and they're on little wires. So what I want to do is, and they come in different sizes too. They're really beautiful. I am going to cut a couple different colors, couple different sizes right off of here, and just use a couple. And I'm going to tuck those guys in around, and I'm going to use my Fabri-Tac. Okay. And then leaves too. You want to make sure you get your leaves in there. And your snowflakes. I did use like a glittered snowflake on every single tag that I made. And I just thought it had to have that theme. It had to have that consistency. And I'm going to put him actually up here. He's going to go just a little bit behind that circle. And then I have some little leaves here that I'm just going to tuck in around it. And the leaves just kind of add a little bit of greenery, like I said, and just kind of finish it off. Just like that. Can kind of have him going up the side a little bit, see? See, just like that. What do you guys think? And you can add a little blingage to the middle of the snowflake too. Oh my goodness. See, this is what happens when you use way too much stuff and you can't find the rest of your stuff. Oh, it's on the floor. The bling is on the floor. Oh no. I'm going to use this one right here. And this is actually also where I used, what are those cute little buttons? The little crochet buttons. Hold one of these guys out. And I'm going to use them right up here at the top with where my ribbon goes. Sorry, I'm using this crude way of making a circle. And I'm going to grab a little bit of my gold ribbon. And for the ribbon, you really only need little snippets. This you don't need to tie in a bow because it's a thicker ribbon, so a nice little knot at the top is all you need. And then I'll glue that little button right there. That'll finish it off nicely. And I could have put twine through there too, like I did. I did that on the original, but you don't have to. So there it is. Cute little tag. Here's the original. And this one I used seam binding. This one I just used the gold ribbon. So done. That one's done. Oh my gosh, we still have more to go. Okay. We still have a lot more to go, guys. Sorry. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to use actually another tag that we covered with Prima packaging. And I have some of this. Here it is. I was wondering where it went. So I'm actually going to use just a little bit of this printed paper just along the side. And then I have a border of lace coming up right here. So I'm probably going to cut this at about 1 inch. Yeah, I think 1 inch will be perfect. And I'm going to glue the strip of paper and the lace at the same time. And maybe I'll use the cream lace. I can't decide. Yeah, I'll use the cream lace. And I'm going to use this really pretty, like, bordered one. Somebody uses towel racks to store their punches. How cool. Okay, and then I'm just going to line it right up along that tag edge so I know exactly where it goes. And then I'll give it a little haircut using the straight edge of the tag. And then I'll have to do the crease too with the corner. Done. Then I'm going to add a bead of fabric tack for the lace. So see, there is an advantage to using just a long piece of paper rather than trying to cut it exactly the size that you need, because sometimes it's nice just to give yourself that little bit of extra because you never know where you're going to need it. Okay. Got gluey pieces of paper stuck here. Okay, so again, just really pretty ledger paper with that lace going up the side. And now what I did is I have a piece of craft paper that I'm going to just go ahead and glue right down this, or I'm sorry, craft punch circle. And then I'm going to stamp the word joy onto this white piece. I am, I think. No, I definitely am. It's a good thing we brought down my other gun. We still have more stamping to do. So the joy is what I'm using now. Sprinkle it on. Get that heated up. Done. And then I'm going to pop the Joy up. I'm going to pop up the Joy and have him raised on that craft circle. I'm going to add more glue too because, you know, can't possibly trust it. Remember, I should be inking all the edges of my papers, but just for time's sake, I'm just moving on. And for our snowflakes, we're going to add a little bit of a bigger guy here, and I actually have him kind of tucked in behind that raised circle. I could also put the bigger one up here in this toward the center, and then do one down here smaller, one up here smaller, which is what I'm probably going to do. And then I'll finish him off, finish all the snowflakes off with some bling, of course. Oh no. Globby. Alright, so you can see where I've just got one up here, here, and down here. And I'm gonna add these guys here. Just a little bit of glue onto my bling just so it sticks to the glitter. Sometimes, you know, like the stones don't always stick to glitter all that well, so you sometimes want to add just a little bit more. And there you have it. Pretty. And then for the original one, you can see I added a piece of gold ribbon and another one of those cute little crocheted buttons. It's done. Good. All right. So these, now we're flying. Now we're going. Okay. On to this guy here. Hold on a second. I just got to clear off this area. Okay. On to this guy here. We're going to use actually a tag that we covered in the mulberry paper. And it's that really pretty printed mulberry paper. And then we are going to use some punched out circles. I had punched out ahead of time. And I had punched out, wait a second. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm using the right ones on which one. Okay. So here, you know, I could have punched out a circle from, you know, some of this mulberry paper or just from any scrap paper that you have. And I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. And this guy's going right in the center of the card. Or the tag, I mean. Then along the bottom, I'm going to wrap some seam binding around and tie a little bow. And I just like to mess with my bows a little bit, get those going. And then the tree that we had prepared before, I'm just going to cut that guy out. Straight edge tree, gotta love it. Right along the stamped image. Just right along the border. If you snip a little bit of that off, don't worry about it. No one's going to know. You can ink the edges of your tree also, and no one will know. It'll blend the edges of where your stamped image meets your cut lines, and you can't tell if you left a little edge of paper or not with the inking. It just blends it all together. Okay, and then I'm going to add a little bit of the foam tape to this tree. pieces off. And I'm going to add him right to the center, popped up. A little bit higher maybe. Okay. And then this guy, I want my snowflakes in a little bag. That was so smart of me. I'm losing stuff left and right. Also, another thing, if I wanted to, remember I was talking about the mirrors before? A mirror would look really cute behind the tree as well. And I'm going to use the mirrors in the next one, I think. All right, now, sometimes too, you want to add a little bit of glue to that ribbon. And that will also keep everything in place. I know I'm fussing right now, but I'm a bow fusser. Do you guys fuss with your bows too? So see, so far, so good. We've got our bow wrapped around the whole tag. We've got our little snowflake down here and our tree in the center. And then what we will do is we grab our scrap piece of cream cardstock paper and our little itty bitty Happy Holidays stamp. And what you do is you'd stamp it onto just stamp it right along the edge of a piece of paper and then trim off that tiny piece, because it's so tiny that you want to stamp first, then cut. So can you see that at the bottom? And what I did is I kind of popped it up too. I popped it up, brought in the edges to make like a Z, and then trimmed off the side pieces. So I can show you guys that real quick if you want me to. It's probably about, I think after I'd stamped it, it's probably about a 1/2 inch piece of paper. So let's say that I stamped my image right in the middle of this paper strip. I'm going to bring one side back, and then I'm going to bring the other side back, leaving that area where the stamped sentiment would be, right? So I've got them folded, the two pieces folded behind. So when I bring it back forward, I'm actually going to crease it and make a little Z. And I'll do the same thing here. I'll bring it back forward just a little bit so that you have that little banner. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to take your scissors and just kind of notch out those ends and just kind of eye it. Don't worry about it. It's just a little piece. Can you see that? And you're going to do that for this side too. Okay, so just like that. And then what that would do is just be your little banner that goes along the bottom of your tag. And you're gonna, obviously this is bigger than what I needed, but that's what, all I did. So you're gonna bring the paper back, then forward again, just to make your little banner. So I made him a little bit smaller even. Isn't that cute? And then you're gonna add all the bling to the center of the trees. So right where like the snowflake images are, that's where you're going to add it. Okay? Pretty easy. You guys are so funny. Okay, next one is going to be the other Printery piece of mulberry paper stuck on tag, right? And actually what I did for this guy, I'm going to poke the hole through now. Alright, what I'll do for this guy is I'm going to take that big fat piece of gold ribbon and I'm going to wrap it around the whole tag going this way. So, I think it's important too, just to give your end piece of your ribbon a little bit of a skinny part like that, so when you're running it through your hole, then it's much easier. So you run it through your hole, then bring it from the back to the front and tie a knot. And then I'm just going to tie a little knot. Okay. So basically you've wrapped it all the way around the tag. Yep. And then just kind of knot it and cut off those pieces. And then you have 2 more punched out pieces that you're going to use. You're going to use a big craft piece punched out. If I can find it. It was punched, now it's gone. But basically, you're going to add that one big craft punch piece from the 3-inch. Then you're going to use another piece from 2.5-inch punch, and then put your flower in the center with the snowflake in the center. That's really it. I mean, it's pretty easy. And actually, you know what? I'll just use, I have a couple pieces here. So I'm going to layer these 2 pieces together. I actually took some of the book paper and punched out some of the circles from that. So that's another idea to get the most out of your stuff. You can also do it from the packaging, which will look really cool. Not sure that it'll stand out a lot, but we're going to go for it. So this guy's going to go right in the center. And that ribbon that you've tied on there acts like kind of puffs up your stuff a little bit anyway from the tag. I don't know if you guys can see. So it makes it 3-dimensional, so no 3D foam necessary. And this actually would be a cool time to use like one of the antique mirrors. And I can plop him right in the center. But actually I'm going to use the bigger one, I think. Yeah, I think that looks really cool. And then I'm going to grab a white flower. Cari, where do you write your to and from? Well, what I would do with the to and froms is I would hang in like maybe another little tag. Like you can use like a little jewelry tag or something and have it hang off the top and it can say to from. Or you can write it on the back. That's totally up to you. But I would definitely have it separate from this tag because I want them to be able to like hang this tag off a tree later on and use it again. And that way the to and from can come right off. And no one would ever know it was a gift tag. It's just a pretty ornament after that. Okay. Does that make sense, Lorena? Ah, good. Unless you want to write your name on the back of it and just so that they always remember who it's from. I mean, that's always another great idea. Because I think it's important sometimes. Just look at your ornaments. Sometimes people like to keep track of who they received it from or what Christmas they got it or, you know, whatever they, you know, like to do with their ornaments. Sometimes people keep track. So you could always sign your name on the back too. All right, I'm just adding a couple leaves. I added a snowflake to the center of my white flower. And I'm actually going to adjust it a little bit and center it. And there's my tag. So I could probably just fuss with the leaves a little bit more, but there you have it. And then on this one, again, this one I had added that antique mirror, and this one I did not. And you can add a little bit of the twine to the top where the ribbon is tied. Cute, right? All right. All right. One more to go, guys. Hope that's okay. I know I'm keeping you guys here kind of late than I normally do. Okay, here I've covered the tag in the mulberry paper sheet and did that ahead of time. And now what I'm going to do is just add like a little strip of like a little banner along the side. And let's see, I can use. Oh, I found it. And it's about 3/4 of an inch wide. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So I'm going to grab a piece of that Printery. I had a little bit of that Printery paper left over. And I'm grabbing a little strip and I'm going to do another little notch like I showed you guys earlier. And this time, let's see. This time I'm going to just go ahead and cut from the bottom points and not bend it, but you could if you wanted to. With skinnier paper strips, it's harder to do. And then I'm going to kind of just adjust it where I want it, glue it down. Alright, and I've got it not quite next to the edge of the tag, but over to the side just a little bit by maybe a ½ inch or so. And I can give the top a little haircut. Alright, just like that. And then what I did simply was, on the original tag, I had taken the little snowflake stamps that come in the set. They're all a mess right now. But basically just grabbed all these little guys and just kind of dotted them around. But actually I think for this one I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to use another one of those mirrors. And I'm going to have it kind of here. But I'm not going to lay them down just yet because I need to wrap my twine around the the tag a couple times. And I just like to hold one end and just kind of wrap it around. Let's see how many times. I think I'm going to go one more time. So I'm going to wrap it around my tag 3 times. And then I'm going to meet in the back and just tie a knot. So you can get a lot of use out of these stamps. I think that they're perfect for cards, for anything that any little projects that you want to do. But for these tags, they were really super fun to use. And I love embossing. Embossing to me never gets old. It's just always like magic. It's a fun little chemistry lesson for yourself, right? Okay, so I kind of have it going like that. See, I wrapped it around, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to add my mirror. I just picked it up and there's like 5 things stuck to the back of it, you guys. Nice. I'm going to put a little glue in the center. I'm not too worried about what's going to show through because I'm actually going to I have this guy hanging off the side. And I'm actually going to put a little circle in the middle. Just like that. Now, I'm going to give this guy a haircut. You can cut through these. I should have brought bigger scissors. There. I can kind of move it over a little bit too. There we go. I'm going to put my circle in the middle. Another one. Oh, my white flower's missing, so you know what? I'm going to just add a snowflake. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a bit of bling. It's kind of fun to do something different too when you remake these. I'm going to add Noel with my letters. And I'm going to start with the 2 center letters, right? The O and the E. Hey, did you guys do Elf on the Shelf with your kids at home? Have you heard of that? I picked one up today. It is so cute. Brian was dying for one, for Elf on the Shelf. It's like a little elf that comes with a book, and every morning, like, the elf is doing something different, and he's magical, and you're not supposed to touch him. Kids aren't supposed to touch him because if you touch him, he loses magic, so they can't mess with him. And we just got him today, and Brian is so excited. I just can't believe he's so excited about it. Isn't that funny? So I'm going to do something really fun. I saw an idea on Pinterest that I want to try and do something really fun. So there you have it. I've got a little Noel down here. I used the antique mirror and then added my glittered snowflake and circle to the center. And then what I would do is I'd finish it off. Actually, I kind of like the black bling. I'm going to take that off and add the black one. Sorry. And then I'll add my black seam binding to the top. My crude hole punch here. Sorry, everything's still wet too, so it's all kind of sliding around. Oh, they have the elf. Oh, you do. You have a Hanukkah helper elf. How cool. Well, I did not know about Elf on the Shelf, so I feel like I'm behind the scene here, behind the trends. So, it is so cute. So I saw on Pinterest that they had like all these little Lego guys that was holding tied up the elf, and they were holding him hostage overnight. So when the little boy wakes up, it's like his elf is tied up and surrounded by Lego men. It is so hilarious. I think I'm going to try that one. There are so many good ideas on Pinterest and all over the internet and things you could do with Elf on the Shelf. So I think it's going to entertain me more than bring enjoyment to Brian, because I'm just going to have a ball getting that guy to do different things each night. It's going to be so cute. Okay, so there we go. There we have it. And then on the original one, like I said, I had added some snowflake stamping up here and down here, and then added some bling as well. Okay, if you guys could see that. Let me move. So I've got the stamping that kind of like cascades like up the tag, and then down at the bottom, and then I have my little Noel. And this guy, I did not stamp the snowflakes, but I could still add some bling like up here and down here and just keep it going too. But I think it's really fun. And then I might add some greenery, some leaves too as well. You like it, guys? So that was the last tag. Woo! You should see this area. You guys want to see it? Look at that. Look at this. And there's areas behind the camera you can't even see. It's all over the floor. Thanks for hanging in with me tonight. Yeah, I know, right? It looks familiar, this whole area. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming, and thanks for joining me for this tag class. It was a lot of fun to do, and I'm glad you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a couple new things tonight with my stamping and glittering and stuff. So, it takes a lot of stuff just to make these cute little tags, but it's whatever you have on hand, some twine, some ribbon, some lace, some bling, whatever you like. Get your stamps out, dust them off, or invest in that cling set, that you'll be able to use every year over and over again on your tags and your cards. It's definitely a great investment. So, I wanted to tell you guys, Thursday night we have Sharon on. Sharon's going to make a mini album made from Prima packaging, papers, all kinds of fun stuff. And it'll be nice to see her on here again. It's been a while because she's been really super busy. So Thursday night on December 8th at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 Eastern Time. I think it's something like 2:30 a.m. GMT, sorry. And then in Sydney, I think it's like 1:30 p.m. I want to say. I think, Marion I hear is doing well. She's still like kind of having contractions here and there, and I think that they're still trying to keep those down. So I think she's on complete bed rest, and they're just keeping an eye on her, but she thinks that the baby's going to be coming soon, but they're just trying to hold her off for a couple more weeks. Yeah. So she probably won't be, she's not doing any classes this month, and I don't think she'll be doing any classes next month because she'll be taking care of her new little baby. Yeah, so we'll keep checking on her and just give you guys updates and be here. Yes. I just had to answer a question, sorry. So, yeah, I think prayers would be good for her and, just little well wishes and things, just, you know how it is. We've all been there. It's tough. She's got two other little babies running around while she's waiting for her third baby. So it's like, it's just chaos. Yeah. I did check my PM, Rebecca. Yes. Oh, Rebecca picked a winner, so check your private messages to see if you've won from the chat. We picked participants from our live chats to win a little Prima prize, and we send it out to the winner. And not me. Well, anyway, thanks so much, you guys. I'm just gonna let you go. Thanks for coming. Thanks for stopping by, and I appreciate your coming and your support for the shows. I hope you really enjoy it, and hopefully I'll see you Thursday night. Thank you. Bye bye.